Hi everybody, this is Sayaji Dan, and this is the essential lessons of the line form. So the line form, as you know, is our ultimate form for training up to black belt. And the line form is very long, and the line form is what we call a contrived form, meaning it has built-in restrictions in what you can and can't do, because it presupposes your environment you're fighting in. So one of the essential lessons of the line form is to make you cognizant and aware that you will have to adapt what you're learning for your environment. If you're on a slope, it's going to change your stances. If you're in a small, tight, narrow, hollowed out hallway, which is what the line form's performed in, that will affect everything you do. So being called the guardian of the sacred passage helps inform that first essential lesson. This is an area or location or environment specific form. And we teach some of the changes you might have if you're fighting in a confined space, but you don't necessarily want to grapple. So there's a lot of trapping in this form. There is some grappling, but most of it's trapping, and the idea is engage and disengage, engage and disengage. Another essential lesson of the line form is, for the first time in our system, we are focused on fighting sideways. We're turning out of the in stance into a T or L stance, fighting to begin with our engagement. But you'll notice that we still prefer the in stance where possible. And so many times in this form, you will begin facing sideways and wind up turning forward to fight. And that is that second essential lesson, that we still believe in the forward position, but we can also work from the side, and the transition from doing things to the side and turning in to the forward position can help generate a lot of power. We began to learn that in the square form, and we're taking that in and we are using it in the line form. That brings us to an essential lesson number 3. The line form teaches a few new things, but really what it does is it takes everything you've ever learned and uses it in a new way. So it teaches you the idea of the universal concept. And you'll see the exact same sequence from an earlier akka in this form twice. You'll see a sequence from the T form in here, for sure. You'll see a sequence from the square form in here, for sure. And if you're really paying attention, you'll see a sequence from the cross form in here. Now, these sequences are applied in a different target zone. They might have an addition before or after them. And they also will have a modification within them. And so that is a very important lesson. As you learn this akka and you say, well, this is what we did in the T form. Not quite. Make sure you learn the modification and that adaptation we had to do for the environment we're fighting in. And that brings us to the fourth essential lesson. And this is a big picture lesson. And that big picture lesson is, unlike some schools of thought that are very dogmatic, that this is the proper way to block, this is the proper way to throw this punch, this is the proper way to deliver this kick. We have no such restrictions here. We let our environment and the situation define the restrictions on our technique, not the other way around. So, when it comes to that roundhouse kick, if you can't swing your leg around because there's a restriction there, you can throw a roundhouse kick by throwing a front knee first. Welcome to advanced belts. You'll see that in sequence number 7. Also, that big lesson of environment and situation customizes your own technique will help you be a much more free-flowing, much more responsive, and much more intuitive fighter when it comes to self-defense situations.